Hello crocheters, here it is, our crocheting podcast, and I've thought about what I could call it. I have this vision of a little shepherd girl with her hook pulling her sheep in and crocheting the yarn as she's pulling him in. I just have to find a way or someone who can help me do a cartoon and dress up the podcast and make it fun, and I know the good Lord will send somebody to help me because I certainly don't have the knowledge of how to do that. So I have met so many of you because of the video I put on about my views about Ravelry, and not all of you agreed, and that's okay. That's okay. There have been problems in our nation for a long, long time, and God tells me that first, before I pray for my husband, my family, anything, first, I'm to pray for those in authority. Prayer can turn things around, right? Okay, who knows what this thing is? This is called a nostipinna. And when kids come in here, especially like the 7, 8, what is this thing? What is this thing? Usually I don't have the yarn on it, but it's made by Chow Goo. And if you want to wind your yarn in a neat little, you can do it in a cake or a ball, and you would have laughed if you would have seen me trying to figure out how to do this. It's supposed to be relaxing. So here I pull it off, and I should have a nice, you can do an egg shape or a cake shape. So maybe I'll have some more fun with this. I like gadgets. I like new things. Yesterday, only one man came into the shop. He said, I came in to get knitting needles for my mother. Knitting needles for her, he said, for her. And he needed 2 sets. And I'm like, a set or an individual? Well, 2 sets, but he didn't know. And then he'd look at, well, hers are 2 crochet hooks he wanted. Hers were about this long. Tunisian hooks? He didn't know. I said, can I call her? No, she's in a nursing home. After a lot of conversation, what he wanted were 2 knitting needles, and then it really got comical. He was my favorite customer of the day, but my only customer. No, I think they're too thick. No, I think they're too thin. No, thicker, thinner. Finally he found one that satisfied him. So I feel like little Jack Horner here. Put in his finger. Yep. Did you ever put your finger in a pie or like eat it when you weren't supposed to? I heard this story about a woman that baked her husband a pie. So he was expecting to come home to a pie, but she started scooping out some of the filling and eating it, and then another slice and another slice. And you got it. She ate half the pie. So thought the best thing to do would get more stuff and hurry up and bake another pie and then eat the rest of that so he wouldn't know. Funny. Okay. Well, I love to knit, but I also love to crochet. And people like to push me back into a corner and say, which do you like better? And I'm like, I love them both. Sometimes I crochet for weeks and weeks, and then I'll knit, and you get 2 different effects, and there's pros and cons of both. Yesterday, I was playing around with a Nook. Nobody came into the shop all day, and I actually had one. I was so excited. But there's a learning curve to that because it's the opposite of what you're doing with crochet. You're over the top and through. It felt awkward to me, and I'm thinking I could just be knitting this because you get a garter stitch looking, or I think a stockinette stitch. But I've noticed when somebody posts how to do the Nook, they get a lot of views. My question is, are they continuing to do it, or is it just curiosity driving it? Because in almost 5 years, no one has ever come in and asked me for a Nook. I had a lady last week came in and asked me for a device to make toothbrush rugs. And I mean, if it's something new, I gotta know. I'm on the computer learning this. So old-fashioned toothbrushes used to be able to punch out the brush, and then you would have just the plastic or the wood, whichever, with a hole. You would then put your strips of fabric in that hole and you would make your rugs. So you can get those utensils, notions, but to try to find an old-fashioned toothbrush, this lady had me going around the house and looking at all my old toothbrushes. That must have been a long time ago that you could pop the brush out. So then you think, do I want to get into that? You know, probably not right now. Okay, so this is called the Blackberry Shawl. I've shown it before. It's by Jean Steinhilber. And Blackberry Shawl, it's a free Ravelry download. And it was very fun to make. I actually have it on upside down just because I thought this part would look prettier with my dress than gray, but maybe not. I like the way she did the top. So you kind of get what I think is like the normal shaping of your neck instead of just doing a standard shape. Yeah, see, I think the blue looks better with my dress. But anyway, it was fun, and I guess you could do different things with that. You could turn it down. Yeah, it's a little bit warm here. This is 20% wool. There's my shawl pin. I also have these magnetic pins, which are fun because sometimes when people crochet shawls for friends, they tell me they get them back all ripped because they didn't understand that you have to respectfully put the shawl pin in. This is the yarn, Katia Paint. It's a light worsted and it comes in lots of colors, and I didn't use all of my yarn. I had some left and I decided I was happy where it stopped, so I stopped. So would I crochet it again? I would. I have a lot of stuff here. I've been busy hooking it. And I keep thinking of that little shepherd girl with her hook. And yesterday when I was here by myself all day, I started looking up the history of crochet. And lo and behold, my little image of the shepherd girl or the shepherd hook, that's actually what they called the crochet hook. I know shepherds did fiber arts. They had a lot of time out on the hills, but it got fancier terms later. So it was also, I think at one point maybe called shepherd's knitting, but crochet was making knots. And yesterday when I was looking through the Notion book, I also saw this little tool, a little metal tool with a hole that you can make netting. I guess you could do hammocks and all kinds of things. And once again, I thought, should I get that? Should I do it? But I watched a video and I thought, maybe another time. So they would do very practical things with crochet. Hunters and fishers would get knotted bags and baskets and fish nets and cooking utensils. I haven't figured that one out. And crochet was also used in ceremonial rites, marriages, funerals, ceremonial costumes with ornamental trimming for their arms and ankles and wrists. And you know, one day I had a woman that came in here and she wanted to know if I had a certain prayer shawl book. And it was knit and crochet drop-in time, and all the ladies were trying to help her. And then I came along and said, no, I knew I didn't have that book. And she said, oh, I just wanted to look through it to see if I should purchase it on Ravelry or not. Doing. Anyway, it was a prayer shawl that was actually a shroud that you wrap the whole body in. So I can see it. Then in 16th century Europe, royalty got lace trimming, headpieces, gowns, jackets, and during Victorian times, bird cages, covers, baskets for visitors card, because when the ladies would call, they would leave their calling card. Flower pot holders, lamp mats, shades, I guess lamp mats later became doilies, tablecloths, and then if I see a word and I don't know what it means, I gotta look it up. Anti-massacres. Macassars. They were crocheted, again, almost like doilies, chair backs, because the men put oil in their hair and that would get soaked into the furniture. And I remember as a child going in old people's homes and seeing those crocheted pieces for the back of the chair and the armrest. Purses, men's caps, vests, and then they would crochet rugs with foot warmers for under the card table, so the wealthy would play cards and their feet would get cold. Then in the 1900s to 1930s, you started to get the Afghans, slumber rugs, car rugs, traveling rugs, chaise lounge rugs, sleigh rugs, cushions, tea cozies, hot water bottle covers. And after a while, the pot holder had its debut. You know, I don't even know if people are making a lot of pot holders anymore, but not crochet so much, but almost every knitting book I get for the shop has a hot water bottle cover in it. And I'm not getting it because with today's microwaves and heating up packs, I went to a pharmacy that's been in business a long, long time and asked him, do you sell hot water bottles? He goes, oh, we haven't sold them in a long, long time. So next time we'll talk about techniques, how they evolved, what we do today compared to what they did then. So let's get on to some beautiful things. If you have watched my podcast in the past, you know that I'm not a conformist. I don't go along with the FOs and the UFOs and the half-o, because I think it's kind of degrading to do something beautiful and call it a finished object. That's just personally me. So, anyway, how many of you know who Tamara Kelly is? I encourage people when you make projects to kind of at least look at who designed it, look at what else they're doing. I like Tamara Kelly's things, and I made her artfully simple, and she says that you can't mess up on this, and if you do, just forget it and keep going. And we sell these little pins at the shop, so I decorated this with a bunch of pins, but it's it's an artsy, kind of like a big necklace. Oh, I'm losing all my pins. Kind of like a big necklace type thing that you can adjust and put on. And it was done with one skein of a cotton linen yarn, a Plymouth yarn called Kudo, that you can no longer buy anymore, but you can buy it here at Creative Ewe Yarn Shop. And I guess I didn't do the formal introduction telling you my name. I don't know why I forget that. My name is Catherine Kirby, and I'm owner of Creative Ewe Yarn Shop in McSherrystown, Pennsylvania. Anyway, I had fun with my husband. You make a little tie for this and with a button, but I showed him these little pins that say all different things. This one says Yarn Diva. And I said, I want to see if you're smarter than me, if you can outsmart me, because I could not figure out, these things are called yarn dots. I could not figure out how to get these things into hats or into crocheted purses or knitted. I couldn't figure it out. And there was another gal in the shop with me, Holly, and she couldn't figure it out either. This is the back, That's the side, and there's the top. So I already knew the answer because I had to Google it. So I watched him push and pull and shove and turn and twist until I thought he would break it. And the answer is, it's just popped in, which isn't the best thing because depending on the size of your hole, it could fall out, but you just pop it in. So after I told him that, he said, "Oh, I thought you meant like it was supposed to go in a baseball hat or something." No. But I had fun watching him squirm. So that is Artfully Simple. It's a very quick crocheted piece. And back to the Cadia paint, I'll just tell you, it does come with a free pattern, and there are 2 knitted shawls and a crocheted shawl. And this is the crocheted shawl. And it comes in a lot of pretty colors, and it is an acrylic wool blend, and you get a lot of yardage, like 590 yards. So, okay. While I was looking for the history of crochet and everything and amusing myself, I don't even know how I chanced upon this, but I was looking something up. Does anybody know what a kangaroo word is? And they have joeys in the kangaroo word, and some kangaroo words have multiple joeys in the word. So a kangaroo word is a word that has a synonym, which is a word that means the same within the word. So the word splotch has the word spot in it, and it has to have the word spelled correctly in the right order. Another one would be astound. If you cross out the A and the O and the D, you get stun. I was stunned, I was astounded. Catacomb has the word tomb in it. Brash has the word rash. So if you've never heard of a kangaroo word, there you go. Now you know. Okay. So I've been trying to design a little bit. This is Cascade Malila. It's a fingering weight, really nice. I think cotton silk blend, maybe a little wool. And I'll get this figured out later, but I was making it wider at the bottom. I was also trying to think of how it would look if the color changes went long instead of short, because your favorite colors might end up at the back of your neck. So it's a 3 double crochet, chain 3, 1 single crochet, and it gives it a tilted look. So more on that later. Have a lot of stuff in the works, and I often get criticized for that. People's favorite line is, "How many projects do you have started?" Well, at a yarn shop, sometimes people just like to see what it looks like started. It doesn't have to be finished, just started. So this is the baby herringbone hat. Really cute. When I was looking at Notions yesterday, I saw these pom-pom makers that are shaped like this. And it makes sense because you do want a big pom-pom, you do it there. Do you want this? But the problem is, I realized they were unique, but they were expensive. And so I didn't put them on my ordering. But this is by Little Monkey Crochet, and it is a free pattern, but if you get it in PDF form, it's not free. So it's up to you whether you want to scroll down past all the ads and not be able to print out a copy. But this is called the half double crochet, and what you do when you go to do your half double crochet, you only bring it through one loop and then yarn over and through the other two, and you get this cute little stitch. So yes, I liked it. I liked it. And that was done with Online Valeria, which is really nice, kind of like machine woven. So that gives things fluff when they're done like that. 100% lyocell, which is also tencel. You can look that up and see how that's made. It's kind of a spin-off on cotton. Okay. I was, again, yesterday I had a lot of time because no one came in. I was looking through a lot of the crochet books I have in the store, and I almost felt sad because I was so disappointed by a lot of them. I don't understand. I mean, somebody puts the book together and it's supposed to be all these neat patterns, and you look through the books and you're just not catching the passion. So I'm always encouraging people to try their hand at designing. I definitely feel that the things our grandmothers made, maybe sometimes we don't have the patience for. I was flipping through this book, and it is supposed to be Our Best Baby Afghans. It's still in print, and it came out, whoa, 1996. Well, that explains to me why a lot of the blankets seem kind of old-fashioned. And maybe like today's yarns would really like make them look better, but a lot of the old-fashioned in strips and so forth. But anyway, this caught my eye. And I know a lot of people don't like to join things up anymore, don't like to work in ends, because, I mean, yeah. But I was thinking, what if you stuck these things in your purse, and then when you were waiting in line here and there, you just worked in your ends? There's a lady that comes in here named Kathy. Kathy was at the hairdresser's, and she was complaining about, oh, all these ends, I don't like working them in. And the lady said, well, just give them to me, I'll do it. And Kathy said, I have an entire box. And I said, that's okay, I'll do it. So Kathy brought them all in, gave them to her, and the next time she went to get her hair done, she picked them up. All the ends are woven in, and she got her gift certificate. So this is done with Ella Rae Cozy Soft, which is a nice DK weight yarn. You do your middle different colors. So I was thinking if I did one a day, and we'll see. But yeah, I haven't done anything like this in a long time. And it's called the Posy Patch. So I will keep you posted on the Posy Patch. At one of the other podcasts, I was talking about how my grandson, who's 4, planted this old pack of seeds. And I waited what's going to come up. And they look like a bunch of scraggly weeds. Poppies. So the first day I got a beautiful delicate pink poppy. Now I have white poppies, peach poppies, red poppies, white poppies. So, you know, if you don't work in your end, things unravel. You would think they wouldn't, but they do. This again, I was playing around. The Nora books usually sneak 1 or 2 crocheted projects in. And let's see how well you can see that. But I think you could get a lot of effects. Again, this is Ella Rae Cozy Soft. I think you could get a lot of effects with a lot of different yarns. I'm not sure that this would be the one. I was maybe going to do some in some yarns I have laying around and see what I think it looks the best, but I think it has promise. That is by Mary Lynn Patrick. And I don't know that it has a name, but we shall see. This is a really fun yarn. It's a Queensland flat yarn, 2 colors. They keep changing. And I decided to design a market bag. And so there's my bottom. And this will be something I will write up in the near future. And I ran out, so I need another ball. But yeah, so far it's been fun. I was working on this last night and I didn't realize how much pull it takes to pull this yarn through. Cotton doesn't have that glide that other yarns have. So I set it aside to do a little bit of work on my drive-in movie shawl. And what a difference. Man, I felt like my fingers were singing. This is called Babe 100. It's a Euro yarn. It's a sport weight acrylic and nylon, 356 yards. Nice and soft. And when I chose my colors, I wanted to do the magenta in the main spot, and I got it mixed up. That's okay. It will still be pretty. It's very easy to follow and do. And the longer I do shawls, the more I like the way it looks when you have a big shawl. And it kind of drapes over you almost like a sweater effect. So I just might make this really big. I have plenty of yarn. And again, that is Drive-In Movie. It's a $6 pattern by Noriko Ho. I think that's how you pronounce that. Called the Fiber Gallery. Time to toot my horn about a notion. I have yarn dots falling over me everywhere. Sometimes when people learn how to crochet, they just can't get the tension wrapping the yarn in their hand, or sometimes people get sore. Like when I was doing that shawl last night, I noticed the yarn kept going over my finger and I got a little boo-boo. But anyway, the yarn guide, you slip that on your finger. I also have one that's like a coil thimble, and you catch the yarn in there and it just glides by itself, and it's really neat. This one you can put 2 colors in it and they're cheap, but once people do that, then it seems like they can ease into doing it without the guide. But I use a lot of these, but I think I might start using one. All right, my little tip of the day, if I can find my cup, I'll find it. I shall find it then. Where did it go? It will show up. Maybe we shall do the tip of the day later. Huh. Where could it be? Here it is. Okay, my tip of the day. I like to drink tea. You see the inside of that cup? Pretty nasty, huh? My husband and I were watching the Travel Channel, and they were showing how when you travel to the Netherlands, I think, the insides of restaurants are actually brown from people smoking. But when you see that, you wonder what it does to your teeth. Also, like the brown stains that you get around the sink, where the, around the metal part where the water, the drain, yes, the drain. And my shower, I had like brown film that I couldn't get off, and I'm scrubbing, I'm buying cleaners. So you've probably all heard about the magic erasers, but maybe what you don't know is that you can get packs of these really cheap. I think you get 50. It might be 30, but I thought it was 50. This was a set of 18. The big pack I think is like $6, and if you have Amazon Prime you get free shipping. That's the size. And when you type it in, you want to look for incredible, or you don't need the word incredible, stain erasing sponges. And I am telling you what, I got that shower cleaned, the sink cleaned, everything in about 3 minutes flat. And so I'm going to put one in water here. And so, you know, get your cleaning done quick and have more time for crocheting. So I'm going to take this and look at that right away, just with, and I have scrubbed this thing. I've used dishwashing soap, and look at that. I'm almost finished already. And I've noticed that the sponges don't last. I mean, once you get all that dirt and stuff on them, you know, they're kind of done for. But that's pretty remarkable, don't you think? And just the 5 seconds I've been getting that stuff off. So then I don't need to use bleach and chemicals. You know, you want your home to be as chemical free as you possibly can. So, teaching classes, it's good to teach the granny square. This is James Brett Baby Marble DK. Have it in 3 colors, and it's an $8 yarn on sale for just $4. So 2 for $8, and that's like half of a skein. So then I thought my contribution to it would be to put a pretty ruffle around it. And if you don't know me, I'm big on encouraging people to design things. I can't tell you how many times I pay for a pattern and then I'm looking through a book and I'm like, that's the stitch they use. This is a very generic looking book. It sells for $7.95. It's nothing fancy about it. It's black and white, but it's kind of, to me, like a crochet stitch dictionary with all of these different patterns in it, and some things that I thought people made up. Oh, wasn't that clever? Nope, I found them right in this book. Like there was a baby blanket I thought was really clever, and I thought, by golly, here's the stitch pattern. So for $7.95, I think it's a great deal. It is 58 pages and just lots of fun things. You could design baby blankets, prayer shawls, whatever. I got a prayer shawl book. People here at the shop were always saying, do you have prayer shawl books? Do you have prayer shawl books? And I don't know if I have one right here, but I thought they were very disappointing, very like generic looking. So this, you could design your own. Okay, let's see. This is one of the books I got in, and it has some fairly cute things. I know sometimes crocheters complain that knitters get all the good patterns and crocheters don't. I don't sell a lot of crochet books and crochet things. I try to have them so that people can feel like I have a good selection, but I don't sell a lot. There's the cover blanket. And one of the problems for me too is sometimes I knit a sample up and then I find out the book's been discontinued, or the color of yarn I use has been discontinued. I usually have my little snafu of the week segment. So snafu means confusion. Here's my snafu of the week. This is a cute book, Baby Crochet. I only got as far as the sock pattern. I found her directions a little bit unclear. Like she wouldn't tell you, do you join in the round or are you doing a spiral? Do you chain one? Does the chain one count as your first stitch? All of that was missing. Okay, don't laugh too hard. So here's the pattern. You're supposed to use sock weight yarn and a C hook, which is a small hook. And look, would this even fit on a doll? I mean, newborns can have some chunky feet. So what happened? What did I do wrong? These could be finger pads. I don't know. I don't know. We used to have things at the office called finger cots, and they were plastic gloves with just the finger off. So if you need to protect just a finger, you didn't have to wear the whole glove. But something is definitely wrong. I guess I will give it another look later. I haven't been crocheting socks. I'm definitely not an expert on it, and her book has some cute things in it. But some of the things I thought were kind of generic, kind of like some of the things were cute. I like the little slippers. I'm also wondering if they would stay on, you know, because things can be cute, but they have to be practical. I like the little poncho, but I don't think I liked it up around the neck. And I like the little girl shrug. And if you turn to the back, you know, again, you want to make sure it fits, because shrugs can be tricky. They can look great in the front and not great in the back. There's a cute little headband with a flower. A ladybug blanket. An aviator hat. And I won't go through them all. The baby socks. A little beanie that kind of looks like a crown. Isn't that cute? And there's one that looks like a little boy's vest with a necktie. So that is called Baby Crochet. Okay. There is a pattern that I want to do with the same yarn that I'm doing the market bag out of. I think that's what I want. Maybe this color. And I've done other patterns by this gal, Crochet It Creations, and you do a little bit of seaming. And I printed out a lot of pages, but there's a lot of sizes that I wouldn't have needed to print out: large, extra large, 2X large, 3X large, 4X large. So yeah, if I had known that. There's the construction. You have to buy this pattern, so I won't give too much away. But I'm at the point I'd like to start doing more things for my body. Kind of wear your art, right? Wear your art. All right. This book, I was kind of iffy on. And again, I'm going to look at books different than you look at books. Is this book going to sell? Should I take the time to make samples from this book? Usually I think you're going to put your best patterns on the front, right? The pumpkin hat looks funky to me. Well, the word now isn't funky anymore, it's wonky. Somebody should bring out a yarn called wonky. And you know what I learned yesterday looking at the kangaroo words and so forth, is a lot of these older words or Middle English words or whatever that we've never heard of, somebody can really capitalize on them by bringing that word back out, like balderdash. And somebody brought out a game, right, called balderdash. One was blatherskite, and I thought, what? But you can go to YouTube and pull up DuckTales, and they bring that up. blatherskite. So you blather. A blather is a person who talks at great lengths without anything really making sense. Blather, blather, blather. Skite came from an old English word for basically poop, the SH word. So anyway, but you take one of those words and, you know, you bring up a neat name for a pattern or whatever. But I mean, the bibs are okay, but again, they're not calling my name. I do think the little moccasins are really cute in the little jacket. And being the owner here, I have to be careful because something that I think is unattractive, somebody else may really like. Birthday hat, but not, again, not the cutest cupcake type hat I've ever seen. The bunny is, again, so might look cute and fuzzy yarn. Looks cute with the little vest on, I think. So why am I showing you another book? Okay. This is a blanket called Just Enough. And I don't know, this is Ella Rae Cozy Soft Chunky. So I picked these colors. And I think they look good together. I'm just not sure if I'm sold on the open row. Now, you know, babies might like to put their fingers through there, but could they wrap their finger around and get their circulation cut off? I don't know. It is cute. I like the colors. To me, it looks funky, wonky, whatever, right in there, although it's not supposed to. So, you know what? I think it would make a nice rug. A nice bathroom rug. What do you think? Not out of this material, but did you ever make something and while you're making it, you think this should be this should be... I was teasing my husband the other night because I said this could be a beach hat. I didn't have this, I didn't have that much done. I was kind of flipped up and I put it on his head and I was teasing him. But what if it was stiff yarn? It could be a bowl. But that's how, you know, your mind starts to think. One time there was a woman came in with her husband and there was a pattern for a red, white, and blue hat. And she puts it on her husband and says, doesn't this kind of look like a Cat in the Hat? And he was embarrassed. All these ladies around him ogling him, and he had that expression like, let me out of here, let me out of here. Oh. Okay. Some of my better projects I accidentally left at home, so we may just have to meet back because I have some things that are almost finished, some pretty things that are almost finished, and so I'll leave you with a little joke. And this wasn't a joke, this was a true story. I was watching a YouTube video on humor, and this man said his grandmother, who was in her 70s, texted him. He thought, whoa, look at grandma, she's texting. And she writes, Dear Andrew, it's been a while, I've missed you, blah, blah, blah. Love, your grandmother. And he thinks, oh, she thinks this is like letter writing. And your grandmother, like I wouldn't know that it was just grandma, but he writes back, grandma, you don't have to say all that. So I think she was talking to a friend of hers. The next time she wrote to him, he was doing some neat stuff, and she wrote, Dear Andrew, WTF, you know, you love your grandma. And he's thinking, oh my goodness, grandma. So when he gets home and he talks to her, he's like, Grandma, do you know what WTF means? And she goes, yeah, a friend of mine at like Car Club, she was telling me. Wow, that's fun. So have some fun with your fiber, with your with your crook in your hook. Have some fun and shine, baby, shine. Shine for everybody to see. Don't let yourself become glum and down. Pull out of it and share that beautiful smile with the world. Signing out. Have a great week. Catherine Kirby.